everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Olivia and today we are tier ranking every single book I've ever given 5 stars. Yeah, this is either going to hurt or be refreshing. I don't really know how this is gonna make me feel, but I'm excited. And for this week's video, I basically have decided to include all of the books that I've given 5 stars within the last like 5-ish years. I feel like anything moving into high school or before when I was younger, like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, those are definitely still 5-star series, but they're just not who I am as a reader now. So yeah, anything from like the last 5-6 years will be included in this video. And guys, there are 30 books that we have to talk about. And if you know me, you know that I am so picky with which books I give 5 stars. And I've only gotten pickier over the years, okay? So there's definitely an interesting mix of books in here. And that's all that I'm gonna say. So let's get into the tiers and the ranking. I'm so excited, but also terrified. Okay, so I have my computer with me right here, and as you can see, we have all of the books, and again, friends, don't judge me. We're gonna go one by one. Let's go through the tiers really quick. So at the very top, we have Infinity Star Read. I read it, I loved it, I never stopped thinking about it, and it is truly part of who I am as a person. I have been changed because of these books, okay? Top as far as you can go. They're above a 5-star. And then we have Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star. These books were absolutely incredible. 5 stars was absolutely the perfect rating, and I love them so much. They might not be a part of my identity, okay? But we love them. Then we have Did Not Age Like Fine Wine. So this book was very good when I read it. I loved it. I still like it, but it hasn't quite aged like the rest, okay? So it's somewhere in the middle. Then we have You Were Good, I Needed Great. So now we're getting into a little bit more of the questionable 5-star decisions. Maybe it was a 5-star at the time, or maybe I just hadn't read enough books. But yeah, today I don't think about it much. It was good. Obviously I liked it, but it's not the best that it could have been, okay? And then finally, we just have What Was I Thinking? I truly think that this category is just gonna be I hadn't read enough books yet, or it was so good in the moment and then just hasn't aged well. And I have not really thought about which books are gonna go where at all, so this is gonna be fun. Let's do it. They are in no particular order, okay? So the first book that we have is The Martian by Andy Weir, and I love this book. This book is basically about an astronaut who gets stranded alone on Mars, and somehow for it being like primarily about him, it is hilarious and also so good. And this is definitely Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star. I loved this book. I would love to read it again. If you have not read this book or anything by Andy Weir, go do it. I regularly think about how I want to read this book again, and I feel like that's how you know that something was really good. Next, we have The Silent Patient, and don't mind that this is in here twice. I don't know how to delete things, and I accidentally put it in here twice, and I couldn't get rid of it. The Silent Patient, to this day, is my favorite thriller that I have ever read. This book blew my mind. I did not see the ending coming, and while it is my favorite thriller, I have learned as a reader that thrillers just aren't my favorite genre. I don't really like them that much, but of the thriller genre, I really liked this one. So I'm torn between Chef's Kiss and Did Not Age Like Fine Wine, but I think I'm gonna put it in the middle here because this book was so good, and I definitely, if I'm recommending thrillers, this is the one I recommend all the time. But as I've become more aware of who I am as a reader, it's not like at the top of my list, but it was very good. Next, we have My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. This book is so underrated, in my opinion. I love this book so much. I bought it, not super recently, but I bought it so I can reread it. The first time I read it, I checked it out from the library, and I gave it 5 stars, and I still think Chef's Kiss, it is a true 5-star. I love this book. I don't know why more people don't talk about it. It's just the fun, like the most fun, cute romance story. And there's so many good friendships in here. I loved it. And if you haven't read this one and you like Love and Other Words or anything by Christina Lauren, go read it. Oh gosh, we have Asimov. A Court of Mist and Fury is running through my veins. I love this book so much. And I'm so torn between which book in the series is my favorite. So I guess that's kind of a spoiler for a reading that's coming up soon. I just love this book so much. I always think about it. And I read ACOTAR over a year ago now, and I'm already like, okay, has enough time passed so I can go and reread this book so I can have the feelings that I felt when I read Asimov for the first time. So good. And yeah, I will always recommend it. This freaking book, you guys. Okay, if you've been keeping up with the regular content, next we have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And I don't know who I was before I read this book. I don't know why it took me so long to read this book. I read The Dead Romantics by this author and I gave it a 4.75. This book literally has changed my brain chemistry. I love it so much. I'm not going to get into like full book reviews, but just for context, one of the characters in this book is a chef and the other one is a publisher. And anytime I go to like a restaurant or do something book related, all I think about is these characters. Okay. So good. Such an incredible 6-star Infinity Star read. I loved it. Next, we have Confess by Colleen Hoover. And this book I loved at the time. I cannot say that I was just getting into reading. I had been into reading when I picked up this book. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are going to expect me to put this at the bottom. And I'm not. It was good. I still think about it. I think Colleen Hoover's writing is truly addicting. And I don't know. I'm not a hater. I am going to put this in the you were good, I needed great category. Like I said, I think this was truly a 5-star when I read it at the time, and I would be very curious to reread this again and see what I think about it. I just have a hard time prioritizing this book for some reason, but I really enjoyed it at the time, and I remember going through all of the feels, and this is definitely my favorite Coho book that I've ever read. Next up, we have Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World. This was my first Abby Jimenez book, and as an Emily Henry stan, like, this woman is in my heart, my soul, my thoughts, constantly. Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry are constantly compared to each other, so I was really excited to read this book, and I very, very recently gave this 5 stars. And this is definitely going in Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star. I love this book with every fiber of my being, and I love how real the characters felt and how much depth I felt like was intertwined with this story and plot. Like, if a book feels real and the characters don't feel fake and totally rom-com-y, I will love it. I will eat it up every single time. Then we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is going straight into the Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've only read 3 of her books and I've given all 3 of them 5 stars. So all the ones that I've read are gonna pop up in this video, and they were so good. I need to prioritize reading more of her books, but at this point, she's the only author who I've given like all their books that I've read 5 stars, so I'm kind of scared to read more of her books because what if it's not a 5-star? Yeah, if you're looking to get into fiction, she writes addictive fiction, and I love her books. Then we have A Darker Shade of Magic. Oh, this is, I think I'm gonna put it here. A Darker Shade of Magic was the adult fantasy series that got me back into adult fantasy. It was the first book that I read that gave me those like childish, joyful feelings that like Harry Potter gave me. I feel like a lot of people might expect me to put this in Infinity Star read, and it's close, but not quite there, and you'll see why. Next up, we have The Once and Future King, and I feel like some people might be surprised by this. There are a fair few classics in this list. I'm a big classics girly. I like to read a few every single year, and The Once and Future King was actually so good in my opinion. Like, I don't know, I really, really enjoyed this book when I read it. And this book is an actual brick, and the words are teeny tiny. It's King Arthur. I don't even really remember the rest, but I loved it when I read it. I feel like I should reread it, but I feel like I'm gonna put it in the, oh, this is hard. I think I'm gonna put it I think I'm gonna put it in You Were Good, I Needed Great. It's very close to Did Not Age Like Fine Wine. I still consider this one of my favorite classics, but I just don't really think about it all that often. And I feel like that's kind of the indicator for this video. If I don't really think about it, how high up can it really be? But again, classics arguably shouldn't even be in this video because I don't know, I feel like everyone kind of thinks about classics and popular modern books somewhat differently. So maybe that was controversial. I don't know. Ready Player One is going straight up to Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star. Love this book. I ate it up. Oh my God, it's so good. This is another one that I routinely think about rereading. I don't own it. You guys will notice a lot of the books in here I do not own. I just read so much from the library and on my Kindle, and I borrow so many books that I would love to go and shop and get myself a physical copy of some of my favorite books, this one included. And so yeah, since I don't own it, I haven't reread it, but I would absolutely love to. Next up, we have The Great Gatsby. This is probably my favorite classic ever. I love it so, so much. And in college, it was quite literally a comfort read for me. But again, I don't think about it like I do other books. It was very, very good. And it's one of the first classics I will always recommend people. But yeah, I don't like think about it every single day, which some of these books I actually do. Next up, we have Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I just talked about this book in my fiction book recommendation video. This book absolutely slaps. It is the cutest little story. I felt like the writing was so unique. I love Marcellus the octopus with my entire being. And it's a true 5-star. Nothing more to say about it. I love it so much. Now we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And again, it's going straight up into the Chef's Kiss, a true 5-star category. I love this book. It's so good. And I actually do own this one. So applause for me. I feel like so far we're doing really good in terms of like very true 5 stars and infinity star reads. I think it's very clear that I am incredibly picky with my reads. Maybe not everybody feels that way, but yeah, I definitely am. Now we have The Song of Achilles. This is hard because I love this book so much. I don't know where to put it. I think I'm gonna put The Song of Achilles in Did Not Age Like Fine Wine, but please let it be known that Did Not Age Like Fine Wine is still a 5-star category. Like if all these books have 5 stars, we're really ranking it where they fit into 5 stars. Song of Achilles, I would still to this day give 5 stars. So good. I loved the story, and I honestly think Madeline Miller is a poet. And I am in awe of her every single day. But I don't think about this book like I do some of the other ones. Okay, Normal People may be my most controversial book on this list, and some people may click out of the video when I do this. Yeah, yep. Infinity Star read. I loved Normal People by Sally Rooney. It was so unique. Everything about it was so beautiful. It was the perfect intersection between romance and literary fiction, and I loved it. I loved it, and there's nothing else to say besides it was so good, and I felt like a changed person after reading this book. And I will beg everyone to read it, even though there's a chance that you will hate it. Next up, we have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This book is such a sweet story about a boy who's just on a fun little journey, on a fun little quest. And there's such like beautiful messaging in here. I love it so, so much. And again, I don't really think about this book super often, but when I was reading it, it made me feel really, really happy. And I felt like the main character, Santiago, learned so many beautiful life lessons, and I will continue to recommend it. It is still a 5-star read. I just, you know, it hasn't stuck with me, but it was still really, really good. Next up, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is the book, 100% the reason that I got back into reading. My roommate in college had this book, and she was like, oh my God, you need to read this. And then I read it, and I was like, oh my God, reading is so fun. what was I doing before and why wasn't I reading? And I still love this book so much. It has a very special place in my heart. However, now as a reader, I do look for a lot more depth, a lot more exploration of our characters. And so while I still think that this book was perfect and I'm so grateful for it, I don't feel like it has the same depth and character exploration that I look for as a reader now. But it was so good. So if you're looking for like a little cute rom-com-y political romance, go read it. Next up, we have The Secret Life of Bees. This is such a sweet one. This book, oh my gosh, so sweet. I adore The Secret Life of Bees. I do feel like it needs a reread because I don't remember a ton about it, but I do remember that I love it. Maybe it needs a reread and it's an unfair judgment, but yeah, I don't think about it as often. Next up, we have The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. This book, so good, absolutely slaps. I think this would be considered a classic nowadays, but this is hard. I'm torn between You Were Good and I Needed Great, but What Was I Thinking sounds dramatic, but I feel like if we're just looking at this as a tier rank of my 5 stars, I'm gonna put it here. There are just a lot of heavy topics in this book, and we're looking at a family through, I wanna say, 4 generations. I think it's been a long time since I've read this book, but because of these generational gaps, it's very difficult to connect with the characters. And again, a lot of the things that happen in this book are so difficult to read, very upsetting and frustrating, while beautiful at the same time. So yeah, I don't think I would consider this one of my tops anymore, but it's still like objectively a beautiful piece of literature. So everyone knows where the next book is gonna go. Happy Place is in my DNA, I think. Like, I think I am quite literally made up of Happy Place. Happy Place is my happy place, and this is my infinity star read. If I need to feel something, if I need serotonin, if I need dopamine, I go straight to this book. I love it so much. So much. Similarly, Love in Other Words is going straight up to infinity star read. This one is just such a comfort book for me. You guys can see I pretty much have annotated a lot of my comfort reads. Happy Place and Love in Other Words are just 2 of my absolute favorite romance books. Look at the state of them. Okay, I feel like that's how you know that a book is an infinity star. Writing all over it, tabs all over it. I love these books with every fiber of my being, and what I would do to wipe my brain and reread these again for the first time. Now we have A Court of Wings and Ruin, and this is going straight up to infinity star reads. When I read this series for the first time, this book was my favorite book in the series, but as time has passed, I feel like I think about A Court of Mist and Fury more, but while I was reading, I enjoyed A Court of Wings and Ruin the most. And so I constantly go back and forth between which one I actually like better because I love them both. I love the politics in Akawar, but I also love the romance in Akamoth. And so I don't know. I can't pick, but I love them. Now we have To Kill a Mockingbird. And again, this is such a beautiful piece of literature. Again, it is truly a 5 star. Okay, this was so good. And I feel bad putting a lot of these like pristine pieces of literature in lower categories, but it's just my camera stopped recording randomly and I don't know why, so sorry about that. Hopefully everything looks about the same. But I was talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, and I love this book. I actually recently watched the original film. I didn't know that there was one, but then I saw that there was and I watched it and it was good. Again, I just felt like this showed me how good a classic can be. And this is still a true 5 stars. It just hasn't ingrained itself into my body. So, Queen of Shadows. This is tough. I don't know where to put this one. I think I'm going to put it in a true 5 star. I loved Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas so much. This might be my favorite book in the Throne of Glass series so far. I'm up to the tandem read and am scared. I'm very scared. So root for me, because I have work to do in that category. But yeah, I love that book so much, and I would give it 5 stars today, tomorrow, yesterday. You know the vibes. Then we have A Gathering of Shadows, which is book 2 in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. And as you guys saw, I put A Darker Shade of Magic in Chef's Kiss 5 stars. And I put it there because, for one reason, I do like A Gathering of Shadows more. And so for that reason, I'm going to put A Gathering of Shadows in Infinity Star read. I cannot wait. I'm doing my reread of this series this year. I reread the first book earlier in the year. I need to pick this up in the fall and then read the third book. So I'm so excited. I love that book so much and I cannot wait to do a reread because my brain has surely forgotten things that are the reason that I would give this an Infinity Star rating. Okay, we're just gonna ignore The Silent Patient because I accidentally put it in here twice. Now we have Daisy Jones and the Six. Again, it's going straight up into the 5-star category. I would give this 5 stars. I also just finished the show a few days ago. It was so good. Can we just talk about that for a second? The Daisy Jones and the Six book to film adaptation was so good. Not exactly the same, but I feel like one of the closest adaptations that I've seen in a while. And so, yeah, this book is freshly on my mind, even though I read it a while ago now. So good. So freaking good. Okay, guys, Beach Read is the next one. I don't know, quite honestly, if this is an Infinity Star read or a Chef's Kiss true 5-star. In my brain, this book is an Infinity Star, but I haven't read this in probably 5 years. I read this book when it came out as a book of the month book, like a early days, whenever that was. And I haven't reread it since then, but it is one of my immediate goals to reread this book. So I think I'm gonna put it in Infinity Star read because I honestly think that I'm gonna like it even more the next time. But it's just been so long that I don't remember very much about this book, but I remember the feelings that it gave me and I still remember that. Again, this is one of the books that got me back into reading, so can't complain. Next up, we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Guys, Infinity Star. Infinity Star, I read this book this year. She's shining right here. And I love it so much. Go read it. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? And then lastly, we have The Assassin's Blade. And again, I'm torn between Chef's Kiss and Infinity Star. I feel like my heart is telling me that this is a true 5-star read. I loved this book so much. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me feel all of the things. And so yeah, for now, maybe this will go up when I finish the Throne of Glass series, but for now, I think it's a true 5-star. Okay, guys, take a look at my official ranking of all my books. I feel like this looks really good to me. The books that we have sitting in the Infinity Star category are truly works of art, in my opinion. I love them so, so much. And then again, with honestly all these categories, all these books that I'm looking at are some of my absolute favorites, and I like them all. So honestly, looking at this, I don't feel a lot of regret or like I didn't know exactly what I liked. I think my taste has changed over time, but I still adore pretty much every book that's in this list. And I literally could not bring myself to put literally more than one book in the What Was I Thinking category because apparently I would still think somewhat similarly today. Before I let you guys go, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to some of my beautiful, magical, fantastic subscribers because you guys are the reason that I do this and I am so excited to have you here. So real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to @CharliePatterson who said that they really wanted a classics book recommendation video and this is in the works, okay? I have written out the whole video and I'm gonna need to break it up into a 2-part video because I have read so many classics that I don't think I can talk about. There's like 50 books on there. And so I don't think that I can talk about them all in one video. So we're gonna do it in 2 parts, but thank you so much. This comment just overall was so sweet. And then I also just wanted to give a shout out to @TomerRMarnik. And they said that if I really liked Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, I should give Clara and the Sun a chance. And that book has been on my TBR. Like I really want to get to it. I just haven't encountered it in real life in a long time. So it hasn't been on my radar as much, but it's definitely a book that I want to read. So thank you so much for the book recommendation. But I think that is gonna be it for me. I have been sitting here and talking for far too long, which is fine for you guys, but for me, I have to go edit all of this yapping. So I'm gonna go get back to work and I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month and I will see you in the next one. Bye.